I'm Claudia Catania, and you're listening to Playing on Air. New friends and longtime listeners, you're about to hear a world premiere, The Wayfarer'S Code by Brittany Allen. A Brooklyn-based actor and playwright, Allen not only received our James Stevenson Commission, beneficently supported by Josie Merck, but also a full-length commission from Team Jody Falco and Jeffrey Steinman at Playwrights Horizons and the Georgia Engel Comedy Playwriting Prize. The Wayfarer'S Code will introduce you to fabulous talents new to playing on air. Actor-director Marshawn Davis directs, Caitlin O'Connell, Robin DeJesus, and Calvin Leon Smith join POA veteran Frankie Faison in this fantastic wayfaring troupe. And now, The Wayfarer'S Code. We are in an RV park 40 miles from Big Spring, Texas. Glenn and Joelle, Ty and Tom, are mid-conversation.
I swear to you, I've never been so shocked.
He's never been so shocked.
I mean, you hear retirement brunch, you're thinking, they'll do me a nice spread at the Chinese buffet, maybe some golf clubs,
Timex
maybe
watch.
a right-on or a watch, a Timex Q, maybe a Rolex.
Gary got a Rolex. That's his supervisor.
Well, Gary basically started the company. They had to send Gary off in style.
Gary's not better than you.
Well, I didn't say that he was.
Well, and clearly...
Hey, Pumpkin Noggin, would you let me tell the story?
My bad. I just get so excited, guys. Consider these lips zippity-zipped.
Right. So anyway, I swear to you, I never was so shocked. Because these fellas, they're my buddies in the trenches, and we're friendly, I mean. We'll all have dinner together, drinks after work.
Christmas cards, timeshare in Galveston, daughter's graduation.
Right. That whole genteel, neighborly kit and caboodle. But they're not my people, you understand? I've grown to like them, but they aren't the souls I'd pick to spend 40 years with, given the chance.
Especially Gary. Sorry. Zippity zip zip.
Anyway, when I saw her sitting there all shiny and new, I thought, wow, these beanbags, they've actually been listening all these years when I blathered on about my silly little wish to drive off the proverbial
His
spleen.
dream job was to be a sea captain, but the Navy wouldn't take him.
And I cried like a baby. I'm not ashamed to say it. She was just so beautiful.
Spiced mocha.
That's her name?
No, hun, that's just the color of the exterior. They were going to go with sterling slate, but I thought that was too cold. I said to the guys, we're not Norwegian. We're not bounding to the Black Sea. See, I was in on it.
Yeah, Joelle was in on it. And no, her name is Hildegard, after my grandmother.
Died last year, poor thing. Fell off a jet ski. Terrible thing.
Well, I think Hildegard is the most beautiful RV I've ever seen. Don't you think so, Tom?
She's very glossy.
Who wants a 10-cent tour?
Oh, I do.
Well, we should probably...
Come on, don't be shy. On your left, we have the dinette with convection microwave and refrigerator, and this pulls out here if you want to have a party.
Is that a... Wait.
Gas fireplace? He damn skippy. Yeah, they got me the works.
Everything but the jacuzzi. Oh, don't! Mine back there, Tom. That's just our little family nook.
Pretty nifty, huh, Tom?
Uh-huh.
Now, mileage-wise, she holds 80 gallons. But suffice to say, the Penguin Crusaders won't be too pleased with us.
Oh, Glenn. He's kidding. We love penguins.
What's not to love?
But wait! Now may the good Lord strike down a chatterbox. Fellas, forgive us. Where's your vehicle?
We're parked over by the blue Airstream.
Catty corner to the privy?
Not the Chevy, 'cause I was eyeing her. Oh, yeah, I said, Hildegard. Now that is a luxury Class C vehicle. Maybe you could make a friend.
Beautiful detail on the Chevy.
We're not the Chevy, no.
Huh? Oh, okay. Are you the Winnebagos? The Porto with the souped-up tire?
God, I love that model. Remember the Pattersons, honey? They had a Winnebago.
Those creeps at Jellystone?
They weren't creeps.
A penny pincher. They were trying to get us into bed, both of us.
Glenn, don't be terrible. They most certainly were not.
They were genuine swingers. I mean, these guys had a leather swing attached to their cab. What do you think that was for, huh? Playing peekaboo? She's naive, my baby bonnet. I always say she'd probably pick up a sex maniac. Side of the road, all covered in blood. There are so many perverts and freaks on the wayfaring circuit, like you would not believe.
Glenn, ixnay on the everts and the ixfray.
I'm sorry, was that pig Latin?
What he means is, we don't judge anybody's sexuality. You know, back in Boca, our neighbor's son was gay.
Well, you should give him our number.
Don't. He's kidding. And that's wonderful about your neighbor's son.
So, your vehicle?
Oh, right. We're
We're in the van, the plain white van.
Really?
And no trailer? But didn't you say you were full-timers?
We pack light.
And what's your setup like?
Well, we'd be glad to show you, though that's just a 1-cent tour.
But honey, I'm sorry. Well, don't we have that one thing?
What thing?
That thing in town.
What town? Tonight?
Boys, you know you're about 40 miles away from civilization.
Yeah, Tom. What thing?
At the place, you know, the Arboretum.
You mean planetarium?
Oh, if you're talking about the meteor shower, you're also welcome to watch with us. We do a whole big thing for astral events. Grill out, fireworks.
How do you see the stars through fireworks?
Not stars, honey. Meteors.
Well, that sounds wonderful. We'd love to.
Yay!
Yeah.
New friends.
All right.
New friends.
But hold up now. I've still got some questions. About this van. I mean, not to be crass, but where do you know?
Oh, that's a coyote. I should go make sure Lucinda's secure.
Who's Lucinda?
Well, she's our beloved co-captain. A Kwee-Kwee, of sorts.
Lucinda's our cat, guys. Just our sweet little cat. Oh, hi, hello, little princess. Say hello. Mommy's here.
Can I ask you boys another sort of personal question?
We shit in a special bucket. What?
Tom.
No, I was wondering, and I ask this of everyone we meet on the road, everyone who seems like good people at least. What made you want to shed the shackles of modern life and take to the byways? I mean, what excites you most about the nomadic lifestyle?
Well,
Tell him, Ty, how did we get into the nomadic lifestyle?
Because I can tell you how it was for me. For 40 years, I'd wake up and I'd put on a suit. And I'd drink crappy coffee and wear crappy shirts and drive my crappy little car, my Tercel, through my crappy little neighborhood to my crappy little desk where I hated the job. Hated it. We all did. I mean, who ever heard of a claims adjuster with lust for life? It just doesn't happen. We're a sadder bunch than dentists, birthday clowns, hey, you name it. Anyway, every day at my desk, I'd picture my escape. I'm 72 now. Kids are grown. House is paid for. And for the first time in my life, I got to ask myself what it was I wanted to do with the day. And I realized I wanted to eat the world. Gobble it up with my eyes and leave nothing on the plate. Not even a bone.
it was kind of the same thing for us, actually.
Was it, sweetie?
I mean, we wanted to see the country, national parks.
Which national parks, babe?
It's beautiful country, isn't it? So wait, I assume you're retired.
Glenn, where'd you put the kitty tuna?
I left it on the washing tub. Pitter-patter, little feet.
Well, I don't see it.
Well, that's where I left it.
Well, I don't see it, Glenn.
Sheesh. A non-honey badger. 30 years of marriage for you.
Hey, babe. If you can name 2 national parks, I will give you $1,000.
Well, what was I supposed to say?
How about nothing? Or I don't know, we won the lottery, a great aunt died and bequeathed us a massive inheritance?
Now that just sounds fake.
Is it any faker sounding than we robbed a string of banks across Texahoma and now we're laying low on the RV circuit as we hide out from the feds?
Lower your voice.
What? Oh, you think Jane and Ward Cleaver there are the type to snitch or steal? They can't be hard up. This tacky atrocity could easily go for 75, maybe 100K.
Hey, do not take your fussies out on Hildegard.
Why not? It sounds like she's taking it out on the penguins.
I'm just trying to play it cool, okay? You realize we scream stranger danger.
How do you figure that?
Oh, I don't know, Tom. We are literally two men of color driving an unmarked white van with out-of-state plates. We have to actively unarouse suspicion. Anyway, they seem like nice people.
I just thought that the one perk of abandoning the ruthless capitalist gig economy for a life of Thelma and Louise-style crime was that we no longer have to grill out with anyone who could plausibly be friends with my dad. I mean, isn't that why we came out to the desert?
We came out to the desert because we were getting grim about the mouth, Tom, but you're afraid of open water.
That is 100% untrue. Just that one time. Also, I hate Moby Dick.
Must be the witching hour. You boys hungry?
We've got food prepared, actually. Back at the domicile, Kiev Royale and lobster rolls.
Lobster? Way out here?
He's kidding. Cut it out.
I have located the tuna. And Lucinda is down for the count. Now, where in heaven are my manners? Sit!
They threw in the Adirondack chairs at the dealership. Don't you just love them?
You got anywhere to roost in your domicile? I imagine it gets pretty squishy in there.
We have chairs, yes. Eames chairs, actually.
Huh?
Who wants a beer? Tommy Bahama, can I tempt?
Oh, we love beer. Gosh, you know, you two are just extremely and unusually kind.
Oh, well, don't get too crazy, honey. It's just Natty Bo.
No, Bonbon's being modest. They made her Employee of the Month at Hobby Lobby a whole year running just for being so sweet.
Aw, Glenn, shut your beautiful mouth.
Hobby Lobby?
Yeah, I was a store manager. When the girls got older, you know I needed something to do.
My mom did her whole house with Hobby Lobby. I love those little frames y'all sell.
And I love universal health care and reproductive rights, but tomato.
What was that, Tom?
He said he loves yarn. Just loves it. And tomatoes.
Listen to that. Desert quiet. Nothing like it, is there? You know, sometimes this landscape makes me think about my grandparents, Antonio and Hildegard. May they rest in peace. They came to this country with nada to give their kids a better life, and really pushed themselves to be Americans, you know. They worked and worked and worked and worked, but did they miss sunsets like this? Surely they must have. Oh.
Don't mind him. This climate makes him philosophical. On the East Coast, he's very funny and brisk.
Being out here makes me think about my people too, Glenn. My great-grandpa was a cowboy.
Really?
Yep. Drove cattle from Texas to Montana in the 1880s. Yes, there were black cowboys.
Genuinely did not know that.
Me neither. I mean, your great-grandpa, specifically, not cowboys in general. Duh.
Yep. Well, I find myself thinking about him a lot lately. Old Grandpa Courtney. Don't know if it's the desert or a more general pull to open space. This idea of freedom, of movement, or freedom more generally. It's just so much about the way we live is antithetical to this, no? This feeling I get right here, looking at the horizon, sipping beer with fine people. A sensation of deep peace. Like when you were saying before, Glenn, about getting to ask yourself what it is you want to do with the day, I mean, that relief that comes when you've finally earned the right to your own time is so real. I felt that.
Plato and Socrates, table for two.
It's interesting you use the word earned, babe.
Why do you say that, babe?
Oh, just that this whole idea that one must earn freedom, say, by blindly paying dues to corporate overlords for years and years, it's kind of neoliberal gaslighting, no?
Okay, Tom. Way to piss on a nice moment.
No, wait. Say more about that, Sonny. How is it gaslighting?
I just mean that, in the perfect world, any system that lets us look on this neighborly kit and caboodle, to use your term, Glenn, as reward for back-breaking lifelong toil is probably broken. Maybe there are other ways to think about freedom. Maybe we shouldn't be waiting around for permission to enjoy life, but taking what is rightfully ours.
Okay, you'll have to forgive my partner. He never learned how to relax unsuspiciously.
Son, are you one of these communists? Are you all rah, rah, rah for the squad?
I'm not rah, rah, rah for anyone. I'm merely...
Contrarian, he's a contrarian. He's a pot-stirring, cattle-poking son of a gun, and I can't take him anywhere.
I'm sorry, sweetie. I just thought our new friends might appreciate a little stimulating conversation over our cocktails, that's all. But if I have offended, I will gladly retreat to the van.
Oh, no. Now you've got my attention.
Our daughter's a millennial. Ellen, gaslighting is just about her favorite word.
So when you say taking back what's rightly yours, do you mean...
What was that?
Tuna? I mean, Lucinda? That was Lucinda, our cat. She's in heat, but she's completely secure. Go on with your conversation. And gosh, those meteors should be starting soon. I should get the fireworks out.
Hold on, Ballerina. I think we can trust them. I think Tom and Ty seem like our kind of folks.
Trust us with what?
Well, suffice it to say that I like what you said about freedom, fellas, and taking back what's rightly ours. I like that very, very much. Stay here. We'll be right back.
What the fuck?
Well, now you done it, genius.
I'm Tom. I went to Oberlin and took one single class on racial capitalism. Now I have to play the provocateur.
I'm sorry, babe. I genuinely took them for what about Bob people, not like deliverance people.
After all we've been through, car chases, shootouts, standoff with the Popo in Bumblebutt, Arkansas, I cannot believe I'm finna get dropped by some crazy-ass Florida people in the middle of the desert.
Did they say they were from Florida?
Tom!
Look, I told you, I didn't want to kick it with these squares in the first place. My red flag was
and
up.
I told you to act unsuspicious because I'm not trying to go under the jail.
Will you lower your voice, please?
What's annoying is how you act like this is all just a game. But guess what? I don't actually want to get busted. I wanted to abandon the ruthless capitalist gig economy for a life of Thelma and Louise-style crime. Not just because I believe in the desecration of corrupt structures, but because I really do feel I've earned the right to my peaceful, albeit fugitive, existence like Grandpa Courtney and the ancestors. They might even like that for me. Turning crook was not just a political statement for me, Tom. I actually wanted to feel free.
It's not just a political statement for me either, Ty. Hey, look,
Hello there, boys.
My God.
Whoop. This is Lucinda.
Oh, don't worry. She's basically domesticated.
Basically?
So, that's a tiger?
Yup. Lucinda the tiger.
Technically, a cat. Big cat.
Very big.
Why do you have a tiger in your RV, new friends?
There are certain queer times and occasions in this strange mixed affair we call life when a man takes this whole universe for a vast practical joke. Though rule the wit thereof he but dimly discerns, and more than suspects that the joke is at nobody's expense but his own.
Sweetie, do you want to...
No. You tell it, Sugar Boo.
Lucy! Hush! Well, a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away before Hildegard even came into our lives.
Not my grandmother, Hildegard, but...
Hildegard the RV, yes. Glenn and I were starting to contemplate how we'd like to spend our twilight years. Should we be near the kids? Should we move to a timeshare? You know, blah, diddy, blow, old people arithmetic. One weekend we took a day trip to, was it Tallahassee?
Tallahassee, yep.
We took a day trip to Tallahassee, and we saw this sad little zoo where the animals were all so defeated, looking so resigned, so docile, and chief among them the tiger. This tiger, who peeped out of her cage so doleful even her stripes looked dull, not orange, but terracotta. It made you want to cry. Anyway, we didn't know what to do. It was horrible to see such a great lady so cowed. And then Glenn looks over and sees the plaque beside her cage, which reads,
Lucinda the Malayan tiger was bequeathed to this zoo in 2014 by a one Gary Ramshackle of Enlisted Enterprises.
That's his former supervisor, Gary.
Architect of so much misery.
Right, because even at work, Gary was one of those guys. We had these folks at Hobby Lobby, too. One of these guys who didn't turn around and make life easier for anyone else. He chose to use his power to make his colleagues nervous, miserable, and to see that his oppressing influence extended all the way out to Tallahassee, where the wild things should go. Well, it made us so angry, so deeply full of rage, the injustice. So I turned to Glenn and I said, "Are you thinking what I'm thinking?"
And I was not. But I got there eventually.
Well, we had to bust her out. That was obvious. We said, "Lucinda, you beautiful creature, you deserve better than this, and the Garys of this world deserve a little egg on their face." So an idea began to take shape. First, we need a vehicle suitable for exotic animal transport. Then we need an occasion to live in it. And it worked out nicely in the end, because Glenn and his whole Moby Dick spleen fixation thing, and they needed a gift for the retirement, and it worked out for me because, well, I've just never had my own time. I was a daughter, then I was a wife, then I was a mother, boom, boom, boom. And this was a plan I got to make for purely myself. So shortly after Glenn's party, under cover of night, we went back to the zoo, lured our baby aboard with some fresh deer meat, and the rest is history.
We've really come to see her as part of the family. Please, don't tell the park authorities.
We would certainly never rat you out. That's not something we do.
Never. I mean, you should see what's in our trunk.
You're talking about the money from all those banks you knocked over?
Yeah, we heard you. You know you boys aren't as subtle as you could be, hollering to high heaven about the Thelma and Louise-style crime.
But we won't tell a soul if you won't.
Really?
Of course not. It's the Wayfarer's Code, sweets. We sail forbidden seas to land on barbarous coasts, freedom from the shackles of modernity. That's our only God. Consider these lips, zippity zip zip. Sounds like magic time. The shower must be starting.
She's so beautiful. Can I pet her?
Best not.
You just heard The Wayfarer's Code by Brittany Allen. It was directed by Marchand Davis and featured Frankie Faison as Glenn, Caitlin O'Connell as Joelle, Robin DeJesus as Tom, and Calvin Leon Smith as Ty. Special thanks to Josie Merck, the sponsor of the James Stevenson Commission for Short Comedic Plays, for making new comedic short American plays like this one possible.
Hello, my name is Brittany Allen. I'm the playwright of The Wayfarer's Code.
Hi, my name is Marchand Davis, and I am the director.
My name is Caitlin O'Connell, and I was reading Joelle.
Hi, my name is Calvin Leon Smith, and I was reading Ty.
What up? I'm Robin DeJesus, and I was reading Tom.
Frankie Faison, and I was reading Glenn.
It's so wonderful to have you here. Brittany, you were awarded the James Stevenson Commission to write a short play. Do you remember how you arrived at this foursome on the lam and on a voyage of peace and freedom?
You know, I knew I wanted to write something about escape in this moment of quarantine and everyone feeling so siloed. I certainly was feeling grim about the mouth and had an urge to be in places beside my apartment, so I thought it would be exciting to set something in the desert and among adventurers. I was also excited by a story that brings people from different generations and different walks of life together who are attempting to find a common ground, literally and ideologically, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. Marchand, when Glenn says, I ask everyone we meet on the road, everyone who seems like good people at least, what do you think Glenn's definition of good people is?
You know, hearing Frankie talk, it's anybody who's willing to have a conversation. Anybody who's willing to indulge. Anybody who's open and available.
I love that answer, Marshawn. Yeah, I don't know. I do think it's to do with anyone who's willing to meet on this land and talk as friends.
I mean, he got a lot to say. So, yeah. He sort of reminds me of my uncle in that way. And, like, for my uncle, I feel like anybody who's willing to entertain him, you know, is just, like, a good person.
Yeah. Tom says maybe we shouldn't be waiting around for permission to enjoy life, but taking what's rightly ours, which appeals to Glenn. What's meant by what's rightly ours?
It's funny, that line made me think of, there was a service I heard once, and the speaker was talking about one of the classic Jesus movies from like the 40s, 50s, or 60s. And there was a scene added that wasn't from the Bible, but it was someone comes to visit Jesus while he's locked up in prison. And they say, "We're here to see Jesus. We've come to free him." And the guard says, how are you going to free him? The walls are 13 feet thick, like he's imprisoned. And this person coming to visit him says, "I've come to free him from within his cell." And I feel like for us, we're sort of navigating the cell and the oppression of like capitalism as men of color and where we come from. And so in order to liberate ourselves in a world that doesn't want to liberate us, we said we're going to liberate ourselves. It was like, well, you know what? If the world won't liberate me, I'm going to figure out what that means for me within this system.
That's exactly what Brittany was kind of talking about too, I think, earlier, just in terms of what's happening in the world now. And us as people, especially in the United States, we have had enough of a lot of things that are going on in the world and are starting to liberate ourselves because the powers that be are not doing that for us.
And Glenn, Frankie's character, says the Wayfarer's code is freedom from the shackles of modernity. So I wondered, do you think that desire to leave it all behind and hit the road is just going to increase?
Well, I was just in California recently, and it's a living example of that question right now. I mean, I was overwhelmed by the amount of tents and RVs that are in Beverly Hills and West Hollywood. And in a way, it felt to me like there's a certain peace in that because people have just shaken away the shackles that was holding them down, mortgage payments, homes, businesses, and all that stuff. And now they're just living free. I mean, the ones who had good places, it was good, but there are so many that are just painful to see and to observe. So I think, yes, I think this COVID situation has done that to us, to the world at large, and people are beginning to think that maybe we need to free ourselves. I hear so many more people talking about, hey, I'm going to take that vacation that I always talked about. I'm going to do that. I'm going to take this road trip to this. I'm going to do that. I'm not going to be a slave to my environment, to my circumstances anymore. So I think that this is really captured in this piece, very much so, and it's delightful.
I feel like so much of the work that's being produced right now, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of levity happening, where I think like that's the space where we should be exploring that a little bit more, coming out of the common life that we all lived over this last year and a half. I do love a good dramatic moment, but it would be nice to put that to the side for a little bit.
Yeah. Caitlin, what advice would you give to those starting out?
Go exactly where you want to be. Don't wait. Decide what it is that interests you and what you think you're best at or what you want to be best at, and go find it and be there and commit to where you are. So if you want to do theater, get your butt to New York. And I would say keep yourself very busy and have as many skills as possible. There are so many things that everybody does and takes for granted now with social media that wasn't a part of anything that was coming up when I was coming up. And there's so much more freedom with that and responsibility with that.
And since we're talking about, seizing the moment and using our time in a way that brings us joy, what sort of projects and roles would you most like to take on?
I, for one, want to see more people of color in fantasy and sci-fi. We get it in spades with the Marvel universe, but I'd like to see it with more book to screen. Like Lord of the Rings, I think, was a huge missed opportunity. because of casting.
And there's no reason for it to be in Europe. It never happened at all.
100%.
Fantasy.
I want working class queer stories, black, brown queer stories. I just feel like we have to subscribe to this idea of like nobility just to make everyone think that they're safe around us. And I'm like, I don't care about making anyone feel comfortable. And I look at so many queer roles for people of color where you're playing a doctor or a lawyer, and that's really great, and that's an accomplishment, and that is a statement. But I feel like the queer stories don't focus on the folks that aren't professionals. And so I want to see the person who maybe didn't go to college, or who maybe did is like an accountant somewhere, or works at a restaurant, or is a bartender. I want like the people's stories.
That's like what Viola Davis says, like go to the graveyard and exhume
Exhume
those
bodies.
bodies. Yeah.
My friend Jordan also says, I want people's presence at the back of the line to be felt at the front of the line.
It's been really fun and such a pleasure to have you all here. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You've been listening to Playing on Air, great American short plays with great American actors. Theme and play music by Tom Cochan. Marketing and communications, Yvonne Jones. Audio editing, Rachel Creedberg. Recording and sound design, John Kilgore. Playing on Air is distributed by PRX, Public Radio Exchange. For Playing on Air, I'm your host, Claudia Catania. Thanks for listening.